I'm Stuart Charity. I'm the Executive Director of the Australian Automotive Aftermarket Association. Independent repair and service businesses right across Australia are facing a number of serious challenges at the moment, including the technological advancement of vehicles, the skills and training gaps, and also the predatory behaviour of the car companies. For these reasons, we believe the time is right to form a truly national group that exclusively represents the interests of independent repairers around the country. And we've done that by forming a group called the Automotive Repair Council of Australia, or ARCA. The main activities of ARCA are to protect consumer choice and competition in the vehicle repair and service market by ensuring that we have mandated access to dealer level repair and service information, and to really put the spotlight on some of the anti-competitive behaviour of the car companies, including their cap price and free service programs, and also warranty confusion and misinformation. One of the activities that we'll be doing is leveraging our relationship with parts suppliers so that we can deliver technical and training nights around the country, and we've also got a number of initiatives in place to start to address the skills gaps in the industry. One of the benefits will be that we'll be doing research to help identify initiatives that can be implemented in ARCA members' businesses to help them improve their profitability and business performance. Well, if you're a progressive repairer that cares about the future of our industry, then you need to join ARCA, and together we'll make sure that there's a bright future for everyone in our industry.
Okay, so welcome to this session. Keep rolling in. In respect to ARCA, there are some forms over there if you'd like to fill them in and get involved, and AAA is all about being involved. Over here, I've just got on standing up here a little folder about the new car servicing. If you go to the AAA stand, and please do, there are a number of little kits there that you can pick up which are free from AAA, which help you explain to your customer what our challenges are. And there are some things in there to give you an awareness of how to communicate with the customer when they come and talk to you about right to repair and about the dealer won't give me the access, all those things that we're sort of battling with right now. Okay, so to move through to what we're going to cover right now, we've got just 1, 2, 3 more. This is the third last seminar. How many of you have been to a few of the seminars so far? Gee whiz, you're seminar junkies, aren't you, hey? Which is really great. So you will know that how we run the seminars. For those that don't, let me just give you a setup. My name's Colin Bockman, I'm the facilitator. My job is to keep this sort of rolling and to do the interaction. Now, as far as Q&A is concerned, we don't take questions from there. You take questions via text and you send the text to me. So those who want to write the phone number down, it's 0418 318 799. I'll repeat, 0418 318 799, and you just text me the questions. I'll read them, see whether we can incorporate them in what we're doing. Here's how our session is going to work today. We've got three things to look at. One is one presenter from one style of business in respect to multimedia, another presenter in another style to consider, and then we're going to have a bit of an interaction. Because this whole area of multimedia is a little bit like a bit of a black art. You know, what do you do? Where do you get involved and so forth? And everybody in this room has talked to somebody who's read something on the net and you've thought it was real. And then somebody's posted something on a Facebook page. Then there's a bit of chat room. Don't you love chat rooms? Don't you love those things that people post up there about you? Anybody in this room had something posted about their business? Yeah. Was it good? And people get angry and do stuff. We've got a brand new world out there. Can we manage it? Don't know. Can we do the best we possibly can? I guess that's all we can do. Now, there are lots and lots of things that we need to consider and think about how we go about how we use multimedia, how we use this whole digital platform. Doesn't mean to say that when you walk out of this room today, you're going to have the answers. Doesn't mean to say also that you have to get totally involved. You've got to decide what fits for you. Certain size businesses that I know, they do very little, because they've got a fantastic customer follow-up program, they've got fantastic referral programs, and so they do very little and it works. But others are saying, but I want to get to a different group of people. So they say, well, how are we going to use this platform? What are we going to do? And there's lots of things to try. Some of the things are expensive, some aren't. But you need to also decide who you're going to partner with, who you're going to use, who's going to help you. And that's also a black art. You know, this guy does websites, this guy does something else. You know the story? So what we're going to try to do today is not give you answers to that, but give you thinking processes. This is how it works, this is what it is, and what to look for. We've got, as I say, 2 presenters. The first one is Dale Britton, who works in this industry a lot. So he's very involved. So is our second presenter, but he works a lot with the smaller businesses, but some of the larger brands, and how they interact with the smaller businesses. So he's going to give a little bit of a box of tricks. And then we're going to hear from another presenter who's Brett Gorlin from WME, who are a big organisation, but he's going to bring that down to show you what they do and the thinking processes. Then we'll have them both on the stools to ask them some questions. If you've got some questions, send them through to my phone. So when I'm standing around like this during the presentation, you think, God, he's rude, he's on his phone. I'm not. I'm reading your freaking questions, okay? So, and seeing if I can use them or not, and trying to be multi-skilled and multitask. And for a male, that's not easy. So let me introduce to you, please, our first presenter, who is Dale Britton. Dale's a really nice guy, works in this industry really, really closely. I'm not going to give him a great intro. He's going to do that as his presentation takes forward. Please, Dale, welcome him, please.
Thanks, Colin. You want me?
Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's a actually privilege to be here today. It's great to be part of our industry. It's something that I've known. I only known. I've been involved in the automotive industry since I started work at 15. In fact, I've got a colleague down here that actually was working with 25 years ago in a small little parts store in Canberra. Some of the things I'm going to be going through today is social, digital, and web or online. Social media, social marketing, digital marketing, and online. I've tried to build the presentation around having people that have got a website, have got Facebook, and people that haven't, and are sort of looking at starting out. DBC2, my company, been around for, this is our 18th year. We have a bunch of clients that we work with. This is just our digital clients, and you may know some of those brands that are up there. We opened our digital agency, just a dedicated arm in digital, in 2010, so we've been doing it 7 years. I can say for the first 5 years it was a hard slog. We didn't get a lot of traction. The industry probably wasn't ready for digital marketing at that point, but it's probably only been the last couple of years that we've started to get some good results and starting to work with some premier clients in the automotive aftermarket. It's a little bit about us. I need to understand a little bit about the crowd that we've got here today. How many of you have your own website for your business? Most. What about Facebook? How many people have got a Facebook? Number of people already. That's great. So about 50% of you sort of have Facebook. What about people now that use? And I'm going to get back to this point at some point. How many people use internet banking every day? Some people still go to the branches. Yep, a couple go to the branches. And one of the things that we're seeing in the way of transition in digital is one, particularly social media, becoming very, very strong. We're also seeing people consume media completely differently. So one more question. How many of you consume or see or read your daily news or whenever you consume news online now rather than read newspapers? Vast majority. In fact, it's a scary thought. I actually think that in my generation we will see the demise of newspapers. This is a medium that started in the 16th century, and I think we'll see the demise of newspapers in my generation. A quick video now. I just want to show you a little bit about where the internet is, where it's come from, and where it is right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about after that. That video. So it's, we live in a digital world. We live in a connected world. I was at a digital marketing presentation last Friday, and by 2020, our most digitally advanced piece of equipment in our home will be our toilet. By 2020. It will have DNA recognition built into your toilet. It will be able to do things that maybe we shouldn't be talking about today, that it will be able to analyse. It will talk directly to your fridge and say, Dale, you're eating too much sugar. Cut down your sugar. We're not going to order that you're eating too much pastry and so forth. It will place the order to your fridge. It will talk to your fridge and place the order with your supermarket. That's sort of where we are. But it's a Rubik's Cube. It's confusing. I get that it's confusing. For those of you that aren't in the digital space right now, I get that it's confusing. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was confusing to me. We now make a living out of it. I'm going to concentrate on a couple of the major digital elements today, mainly Facebook and Google. We'll talk a little bit about online as well, but Facebook and Google is mainly what I'm going to talk about. But that's the plethora of opportunity that you have in the digital space. We live in a world of choice. When I grew up, we had 4 TV channels and I think two lots of milk, 3 lots. Now, we have hundreds of TV channels and I don't know how many choices of milk I have when I go to the supermarket. We live in an area of choice and it's about choosing the ones that suit you. And hopefully today we'll give you some background to how you may make some right choices. For those of you that doubt it, I talked about internet banking before. My business runs wholly on internet banking. I remember the days before internet banking and I thought it was pretty scary. I didn't think there'd be a day where I wouldn't go to a bank branch to deposit my funds from the day and so forth. But we don't do that any longer. The digital world's here to stay. And right now, as a small business, I'm a small business, it's not a matter of if you connect, it's a matter of how you're connecting to the way that the world is. And it's one thing that I have to point out strongly is that if you're not investing in digital marketing right now, you may well be behind. It's an important step. This is probably the slide that if you want to get your phone out and take a picture of, I think it's probably important to do. These are the key points around today. And that digital marketing, believe it or not, is human. And the reason it's human, a lot of people think that digital marketing is about the virtual reality and it's about areas that aren't really real. Well, I lived when I started involved in marketing, we used to send a lot of direct mail letters to customers. And it started out saying, Dear Mr. Britton, I would like to formally ask you to look at my product or my product or service, and I'd like you to buy it. That's not the way we talk. What digital media does, particularly social media, gives us an opportunity to be human and talk the way that we talk and talk to your customers the way you would normally talk to them. And it's a very important part of the way we're consuming that information these days. It's a daily reminder. Who here is in the mechanical industry? Great. Panel repair? Couple in the panel? One of the things that you've got in your industry, particularly your mechanical repairers that are here, you've got a couple of challenges. I know that we work very closely with your industry. One of the things is that your business is not repetitive. You're seeing cars less and less, aren't you? As service periods get elongated because the manufacturers are driving that, you're seeing your customers less. So how do you stay in contact with your customers? How do you keep your brand of your repair shop with your customers for longer periods of time? Social media, digital marketing is a very, very good way of keeping your brand and keeping your product or service in front of those people. The other thing is that I know you're dealing with a lot of recruitment. How you get good staff, right? It's a big issue in your industry. I know that. Where's the first place someone goes to look at your business and see whether they want to work for you? It's either your website or it's your Facebook. That's where they're going. So recruitment is a big part of this at the same time. Also creates a powerful database. We know more about our customers on Facebook than you will ever know. And Facebook knows more about me and you than you will ever know. But it's highly targeted. It gives you a database without having to have a separate database. It's very, very strong. It's engaging. If we do talk to people as humans, we get engagement back. So we start to work on a conversation. And one of the biggest changes in the way of particularly of Facebook and social media is the fact that it's a two-way communication. It's an opportunity for you to talk to your customers, but more importantly for your customers to talk back to you. And we used to fear this. Back in the forum days, Facebook's really replaced forums. You ever remember the forum days when there was all these forums and there always these threads of negativity that would happen? We've matured past that. Facebook has matured past that in a large way. But it does give you the opportunity for customers to say good things and bad things. And you want people to know about the bad things that you're doing so you can act. And most people now, you'll be able to take that offline and be able to take that into an area that you can talk to your customer one-on-one without it being public. It's a fantastic medium to talk to existing customers and potential customers. Not many of your marketing dollars that you spend can do both. You're either chasing new customers or having some retention stuff in place to keep hold of your existing customers. Your social media in particular will do a great job of talking to both. And it'll give you access to more people, more dollars more people than you can do in any other form of marketing. And I'm going to get some things to run through that. Now, I've got a question for you, Colin, actually, on this next slide. This is the Vatican, 2005. This is the Pope addressing his faithful. And there are 5,000 people watching this address by the Pope in 2005. Colin, how many people is the Pope reaching on that day? 5,000 people? How many is he reaching?
If it's not being videoed or streamed somewhere, then you're relying on the people's phones and portable devices and what they're doing.
No phones, there's one phone in that shot.
Okay, so therefore, questions back to you.
Okay. 5,000. In fact, it's 5,001 because the guy that's taking the photos actually showed it with his mum. But there's 5,000 people that actual event reached on that day. This is 2015.
Yeah.
How many people did that same event reach on that day? 1.9 million. This is why you need to consider digital marketing. It's the reach of people. It's very, very strong, very powerful, and when you see that, we all see it, right? We all see people using their phones. I just asked you to do it before to take a photo. We're all using it. We've actually got, you may well have heard this, in our pocket, our smartphone, an Apple iPhone, has more technology than they used to land people on the moon in 1969. If we built the iPhone in 1985, it would cost $43 million just to build the phone. So there's a lot of technology that we have. So a little bit about Facebook. A little bit. This is every minute. Every single minute we have 500. Let's grab my slide. We have 500,000 comments posted. We have 3.3 million posts happening every minute on Facebook. 136,000 photos and 293,000 status updates every minute. Some figures here I want to cover off on very quickly, but important. 79% of people on Facebook in Australia are over the age of 22. 33% are over 44. There's a lot of. I've walked into clients, particularly 3 years ago, and they'd say, "We don't market to the kiddies." It's gone past kiddies. The fastest growing, you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, top right-hand corner, the fastest growing segment in Facebook in Australia is people over middle age, 44 and over. It's the fastest growing segment of Facebook. So it's now for everybody. Another way we talk about in advertising, and Brett might talk about this as well, is that, and in marketing, is that what it costs us to reach 1,000 people. And when we look at this against television advertising, I know there's probably people in this room that don't do a lot of TV advertising or at all, but it just gives you an idea of how strong Facebook is. Television costs us $37 to reach 1,000 people. Facebook costs us 37 cents. It's a lot cheaper form of advertising to get to the 1,000 people to get 1,000 potential customers. And I mentioned before about Google. It's the thing you use when you type in where you're going to buy pizza or where you're going to go to a restaurant or buy the next product. 2 trillion searches a year, 3.5 billion searches per day. And it now consumes 51% of advertising expenditure in Australia. Google is massive, and it's part of what we need, what we have to use every day. And from an online perspective, I'll talk a little bit more about some statistics about online and website, but it was great to see before that a lot of you do have a website as part of your marketing already. For those of you that aren't on Facebook, short video now on how to start. Now, I have got my presentation on both a USB and in hard copy over on the table. This video is part of it, so don't worry about sort of running through it. But if you aren't on Facebook and are looking at wanting to get started, this is a very short video on how to do that. About content, Facebook content. Really, it's made up of what it started to be. It was text. We put text on Facebook. Then we started adding images, and that was a very important part of it. But something you may know is that Facebook in particular are taking on YouTube. They want to be the king of video. So that's why you now have auto-loading video on Facebook. Facebook video is such an important tool in the way that Facebook actually works now. And if you're not investing in video, I've got some examples to show you in a minute, but not investing in video, it's something I recommend you having a look at. The cost of video production has plummeted. It's actually a very cheap way of being able to create content. And most of you would have a perfectly good video recorder sitting in your pocket in your smartphone. A lot of that stuff's actually done on smartphones. And the more amateur, it's not more amateur, but amateur video is fine. You see it every day if you are on Facebook, you see amateur video, it's actually fine. But it's the way that we are consuming media is more and more video. In the previous presentation to this one, we spoke about what's our attention span. And our attention span in the way of advertising is reduced by 80% in the last 5 years. Mainly video is driving a lot of that because we're looking for short, sharp bits of information. So this is just some other examples of some video content. So this is actually a little bit more about video.
Should you have one or not? Clearly and concisely, yes, you definitely should. And it doesn't matter if you're a small business, a freelancer, or a multinational corporate. And let me tell you why. In a nutshell, people love them. Now, let me explain this. Basically, there are just two major steps in every business: attraction and conversion. You need to attract a visitor and convert them into a paying customer. That's it. And videos can significantly help with both steps. Let's start with attraction. Imagine that an online visitor comes across your site. There's plenty of text and images explaining what you do and how great your products or services are. But that's really not the way to grab your visitor's attention. After reading for about 1 or 2 minutes, they'll simply leave the site bored, and you've lost that potential customer forever. Now let's assume that instead of the boring text, you've got a 1 or 2 minute video explaining all the important stuff in a short but memorable format that viewers can actually enjoy. Studies have shown that videos are processed by the brain 60,000 times faster than text. So you can really give your visitors a lot of information in just a short while, which is exactly the way to earn attraction. People are also 39% more likely to share your content if it's delivered via video. This means that visitors will spread your video through social media and attract more people to visit your site. In other words, this is how you increase traffic, which is then reflected through search engines in an improved SEO rank. See, you're getting more and more attractive. Now, once you've got the attraction, let me tell you how videos help with conversion. 70% of marketers report that video converts better than other content types. Why? Because your prospects can now really see what you do or sell. Getting more detailed information leads them to making more confident purchasing decisions. Also, video allows you to stand out from the crowd and strengthen your brand's trustworthiness. But let me repeat the most important message here. People love videos. And you're proof. You just watched one, right? So let us help you. We can suggest the best video strategy for your business and produce it for you from start to finish. Contact us today.
It's a bit of propaganda, really. Video is critical, and it mentions in that video as well that it's just as important for social media as it is for your website. And I want to talk a little bit more about website now. There's some examples of content in the presentation. Please, again, take that. I've also got the slide at the end, so you can take some details and email them if you want a copy of the presentation. And there's also some do's and don'ts. Again, I'm not going to go through those today. It's part of the presentation. What can you expect from Facebook in particular? You can expect more eyeballs, more people looking at your business, which I think is a critical way of increasing sales and, again, working on retention. There's more metrics. It means you get more data. The reporting that Facebook provides you is fantastic. Who's looking, how long they're looking, when are they looking, who are the type of people that are actually looking at your Facebook page. It's much more targeted, and it's your type of people coming on are higher quality, and I can assure you of that. There's not a lot of people that will spend time liking your Facebook page if they're not interested in your business in some way, shape or form. Google advertising, or Google, is a major part. I mentioned that before. There's 3 areas that we work on. I'm going to really quickly go through this because I'm running out of time. Search, that's basically an SEO program. I know Brett's going to talk about SEO, so I'm not going to cover too much on that. Display advertising in Google is where you've gone to a site. You might have gone to the AFL site or your local club site and seen an ad sitting in there. That's a display ad. And remarketing is a very clever way. It's the use of cookies. You may have heard that before, that term before. Basically what we do is that you may go to a site, you may go to, say, a Harvey Norman site, and you've looked at a product on there and you haven't bought it. What we then is track you on your next levels of sites and actually place the Harvey Norman display ad on the sites that you're next visiting. And a very effective way of that, if you're shopping online, if you've gone to a shopping cart and actually not bought that product, the next site you'll go to, an ad will pop up from the advertiser. You've gone to that cart and say, hey, you didn't purchase. Here's a 10% coupon code to actually go through and complete that purchase. That's the sort of sophistication we have from a Google perspective. It's the next step, but it's again, very effective. I want to quickly talk about web before I wrap up. I mentioned before about recruitment and how important that is from your industry perspective. Make sure your website is up to date. Old websites that are not at today's standard are a complete waste of time. You're better off not having one than having a poor website. Understand what your website needs to be, and then cross-reference that with where you are right now. So do an analysis of where you think your website needs to be, and then cross-reference that to where it is from a current perspective, and make some changes to it. Website building and website maintenance and website upgrading now, again, is far cheaper. It's a bit like video. It's a far cheaper way of being able to market than a lot of other things that you do. Some other things about SEO, and I'm sure Brett will talk about it, is to make sure you've got organic content. That is your own content going up to the site regularly. Video is a great way. Some information about staff, some information about any careers that you've got going. There's some great ways to actually put onto your website to make sure you've got that organic content happening, and that you're continually boosting up from a ranking perspective when it comes to Google. That's about it from my perspective. So I've got a bunch of other things sitting in the presentation that is available. I hope you've got something out of that, and we're here for some questions afterwards as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Dale. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, so getting the picture, is it becoming a little bit less fuzzy? Oh, H&S. $5,000. Okay, that's our other part of our new world that we live in, isn't it? Now you've got some idea of some of the basics, website, Facebook. When we ask the questions, already got a couple of questions come through, which is ideal. We'll get deeper into some of the how-tos for you. But to give you, once again, just then as Dale said, a little bit of an overview now of SEO, which is search engine optimization, which I'm sure you know. Please welcome from I always get this wrong, WME Group, Brett Gorlett. Brett, come on down, thanks.
Thank you.
Brett didn't wear his hat up here for the presentation.
Is this working? Great. Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for the invite to come and have a chat with you today. We've mentioned the word SEO a couple of times. I could talk about that for 3 days, so I'm not going to. We've got about 10 minutes to present to you today, so I thought the best value that I could provide, picking up on this theme of digital marketing being somewhat of a black art, is how not to get scammed. So we'll have a look at what's going on out there, what these guys are doing when they cold call you. Does anybody get phone calls from Indian salespeople every day? Yep. So we'll have a talk about what they're doing, and then we will have some time for some questions later, and I'll give you a brief overview of SEO, but it is a very detailed program. So today's topic is essentially cutting the crap. So we'll see if we can help you out with figuring out what these guys are up to and how to avoid falling into the traps. Here's some obligatory slides about how wonderful we are. We started the company 9 years ago now. We just had our birthday. This is my managing director, Nick Bell, came second in the Clio Bachelor of the Year. He's basically a businessman who was running some online businesses, was getting burnt by SEO companies, hired a guy to do SEO, was successful at it, started doing it for his mates. Now we've got 200 staff in Spencer Street, 700 staff around the world. I think we run about 5,000 SEO campaigns. Point of all that being is that we've got a lot of experience. We have customers spending, I've got an auto electrician in Torquay, we charge him $80 a month. I've got an airline, we charge $40,000 a month. So we've got a lot of experience in different areas. Opening offices all around the world. I think the next one is Thailand and London. So yeah, we know our stuff. All right, so the first thing that a lot of people come to us and express concerns about is this issue of domain names. There's a lot of different options now with a domain name. Just quickly, what is a domain name? It's your universal resource locator. When the internet first started, it was a couple of computers at a military base in America, and they were talking to each other. When a computer needs to draw information from another computer, which is essentially what your phone is doing when you load a website, it needs to find it, and the address that it uses is an IP address. You've seen those, 192.30.164, etc. Human beings can't remember those numbers very well, so we come up with the domain naming system, which uses an alphanumeric code. So you have the name of your company, .com.au or whatever it might be. The domain name server processes that into an IP address, and then the computer can find the information that you're after. So why are they important? Because it becomes part of your brand. People start to get to know you by your domain name. If they need to find us, we want to tell people it's wmegroup.com.au, and then they'll be able to get hold of us. So some domain names, even though they cost $20 to register, are worth thousands and thousands of dollars because of the brand recognition that's attached to them. And the authority that you get in terms of how well you rank in the search engines is attached to your domain name. So the domain name can have a lot of authority, and if you're ranking well in the search engines, generating a lot of traffic, it increases the value of your domain name. So that's why domain names are important, because they do have a fiscal value. We even have some companies now that have insurance policies on their domains in case they forget to renew them or something. So with regards to brand protection, there's a lot of domain name companies that, when you talk to them, they keep saying, you've got to get your .net.au, you've got this com.au, you've got to go and register this .net.au so that one of your competitors doesn't register it, build a website that looks like yours and steal your customers. It's unlikely. I mean, seriously, if you go to the Ford website, you want to buy a Holden, are you going to buy a Ford? No. So it's probably worthwhile. Some of the domain name companies throw them in for $1 or something to increase their market share. You may as well grab it for a couple of years just to protect your brand. If you are operating internationally, then it is a good idea to grab the domain names that represent your brand and just park them. Don't let somebody else grab them overseas. It can be a bit more of an issue. .melbourne.sydney was released last year. I think these are fantastic. If you do have a need to focus on a specific capital city, these work really well for SEO. So if somebody's trying to flog you at .melbourne, it's worth checking out. This one's my favourite. You've probably all seen this email. This is a guy in China who is a lawyer, and he'll send you an email that says, hey, somebody's trying to register WME Group in China. We blocked them for you. Aren't we great? And we'd like to offer you the first opportunity to register that domain name. It's all rubbish. If you want to register your Chinese domain name, go and register it yourself. If you go through these guys, you'll be paying 5 times as much as you should. Everybody seen this email? The other one is pay-per-click marketing. One of the 2 ways in which we can represent your website or your business in Google is when somebody does a search, we can do a paid ad. So that's pay-per-click, and it covers things like AdWords and display marketing. With regards to Google AdWords, if you set up an AdWords account, the first thing you're going to do is get a phone call from some guy from Google, or a girl. There's about 4,000 of them in India in some warehouse somewhere. Don't take their advice. They have a sales target. Guess what the answer is to every question you have? Increase your budget. All right, I need to get more sales, increase your budget. I'm not getting as much conversions, increase your budget. So if you're setting up an account and Google, sends you some options to get free advice from their staff, just don't take it, because all they're doing is trying to increase your budget. The idea behind a good AdWords agency is to get more business from the same budget that you're able to apply. When you are dealing with a AdWords agency, most of them operate on a percentage model, whereby the more money you spend with Google, the more they take as their fee. Typically, it's 30 to 40% of your spend. So you tell them you're spending $1,000 this month, $300 to $400 goes into their pocket, and it's quite hard to find in their terms and conditions how much you're paying them. So you end up getting $600 worth of advertising. Be careful. Again, it's in their interest to encourage you to increase your budget. We've always found it a bit of an odd model. It can work. We have some customers where we're on a percentage of spend because it correlates with the complexity of their campaign. But for the most part, you should be looking at a flat fee, because the more money they can get you to spend with Google, the more they're going to pocket for their own fee. It's also a bit weird because the complexity of the account, it might be a very, very simple account. You might be a mortgage broker, you want to target the word home loan. It costs $50, $60 per click. It doesn't take us long to set up that account, but you could be spending tens of thousands of dollars in your Google marketing fee, and they're going to take 30, 40% clip, which doesn't make much sense. Usually the reporting is hidden, so if you're paying a percentage, they won't show you the reports from Google. They'll prepare their own reports, so you can't see how much they're keeping and how much you're getting. If you pay Google directly, you don't pay GST. So generally you pay your agency the fee, and then you pay Google directly, saves you 10%. I think the government's trying to change that, but at the moment, you still save it. The other really, really important thing about setting up an AdWords account with an agency, before you agree, make sure you own the account. So for the most part, they use their account, they set up your campaign, you go, okay, I've had enough of you, give me the password. Sorry, it's our intellectual property. Then you have to start again. So make sure you own the account, give them access to work on it for you. At the end of the day, if you part ways, you keep the IP. There's a scam coming out of Canada which offers unlimited clicks. Sounds too good to be true. They talk about this deal that they've got with Google. Nobody has a deal with Google. You can't even talk to Google. We're one of 5 companies in Australia that actually have their phone number. We have an account manager. The unlimited clicks is true, but all they do is hide your ad. So you get 1 click per day and then your ad disappears. So they're offering unlimited clicks, but nobody can click on your ad. So that's the scam. All right, search engine optimization. This is the blackest art of all. Back in the day when it first started, it was pretty straightforward. You just put your keywords all over your website and you ranked very quickly. As people like us got more and more aware of the way that the search engines like Google operated, we came up with tricks to fool the search engine to get better rankings for our clients. So Google changed their algorithm, and it's been going on and on ever since. So what is SEO? Essentially, it's influencing the search engines to favour your website in its category. How does it work? Google wants to provide the users of Google with the best experience. That's why it's so popular. The first time you used it, you typed something, you got what you wanted, you went, this is better than Alta Vista. It's not a human being, it is a computer program. It cannot see the quality of your design and the pictures, and it can't watch videos and all that sort of stuff. It requires a mathematical formula which it uses to classify your website into a category, and then how to rank one website above the other. So how does it decide which website deserves to be at the top and which one goes down the bottom? This is what we see when we look at a website. This is what Google sees, and all it's really interested in is the blue stuff. So all of this is code, images and stuff. All of that is language classes and what font to use and all that sort of stuff. So all it has to work off is that text. And what it does is it's basically counting the words. If there's 100 words on the page, and you sell tyres, you put the word tyres 3 times within 100 words, Google goes, geez, that's a bit high. You know, generally people don't talk about tyres that much in 100 words. I'm going to assume this website is about tyres. So that's what we call keyword density. That's a 3% density. And our SEO copywriters write keywords into the text that they prepare somewhere between 2 and 3% most of the time. In some markets, we know if we go over 2%, we're not going to do well, so we go lower. In others, we need to go over 3% or we don't do well. You just learn what Google expects through trial and error. It looks at page titles, which is what appears up the top in the browser. It looks at meta tags, which are hidden in the text, in the code, so you can put like a keyword meta tag. It pays attention to headings, the text itself, alternate text on images, all sorts of things to try and figure out what you do. So having a website that's got quality text is most critical if you want Google to recognise who you are. The content needs to be original. If you copy text off someone else's website, Google will favour them over you. It likes information to be presented that is original. If you use repetition, if you have the same content appearing in different pages around your website, that'll degrade your performance. If you're aggregating content as well, like if you're just automatically sucking information in from other websites. The platform is also worth being aware of. Anybody got a Wix or a Weebly or a Yahoo freestyle website? Not going to happen for SEO. Google can read them. They've got SEO plugins. Google can go in and see what you do. But it essentially, it typecasts you. It says, okay, you've got a free website. You're not as serious about your marketing as this guy over here who's got a nice custom-built website. So it's profiling you by your choice of platform. If your website uses Flash and things like that, then Google just can't read it as well. So now Google has read the text on your website and it figures out what you do. How does it decide whether you get to go to the top or the bottom? Bearing once again that it is a computer program. It looks at citations, which is references and mentions of your business on other websites around the internet. It looks at references to you in newspaper articles, in local business directories, and most importantly, it looks at backlinks. If I have a website and I put a link on my site, people click on that and it takes them to your site, Google assumes that if I'm prepared to sacrifice a visitor that I've obtained to my website and give them to you, that I've had a look at your website and I endorse your content. Otherwise, I wouldn't send people there. So it's basically saying, if I link to you, if I give you a backlink, I'm voting for you. I'm giving you my endorsement. The best analogy I've ever seen for this is a sports team. This one I think is soccer, but netball or whatever. Google has looked at the website and it's properly identified these guys are the forwards, these guys are the midfields, and these guys are the backs. How do you, as the coach, evaluate who your best forward is? It's not always the guy who scores all the goals. So how do you sit there and go, like, who's my best player? One reasonable means of doing that is to count how many times the rest of the team passes them the ball. So at the end of the match, you count up all of these passes and you can see that the whole team trusts this guy more than everybody else. So he's probably the best player because they pass him the ball all the time. If someone's not receiving the ball from his teammates, they probably don't trust him to, handle the ball correctly. That's exactly what Google is doing. It's looking at all the other websites that link to your website and evaluating how many people are passing you the ball. If you're receiving the ball from these other websites, Google will trust you more. It's a little bit more complex than that. You can't just get 20,000 links from Russian porn sites. You'll get penalised. So over the years, Google has learnt what a good backlink and what a dodgy backlink is as well. So if we substitute this for websites, this is how Google decides where you need to rank. So in any search engine campaign, you need to optimise the website. You need to make sure Google can read it properly. You need to have text there that's original and allows Google to classify you properly. But that won't get the job done unless you also build your authority through your backlinks. You can do this really well, but not do the first step, and you won't get the. All right. In 2012, Google released what it calls the Penguin algorithm update, and this is where the 20,000 backlinks from Russian porn sites stopped working. It turned the industry upside down. 75% of our competitors just disappeared within about 3 months because they just couldn't get results anymore because of the techniques that they were using. So how do you get it wrong? On the website, use the wrong platform, stuff it with keywords, write the word tyres 50 times in white text on a white background, you're going to get penalised. Over-optimising, like putting thousands of words of text and stuffing it in the key meta tags, you'll get penalised. Text manipulation is essentially things like writing programs to automatically create text, and Google is very clever in the way that it reads text and can understand when it's been scraped off other websites and so forth. So you really just need to get a copywriter to sit down and write it for you. Duplication, we've already mentioned before, plagiarism, copying stuff off other websites. This is extremely difficult for a lot of you who sell other manufacturers' products on your website. So if you're selling tyres and you take the description from the Michelin website and stick it on your website for convenience, as you would, that can be a problem for you in SEO. The two ways to fix that is you get someone to rewrite that description so that it's unique to your website, or there's a file on the server called the robots file, robots.txt. And in that file, we can say, hey, Google, please ignore this page. We know it's been copied from somewhere else, so don't worry about it. So you can have a whole section of your website which contains information from other people's websites and just block it so that you don't end up incurring those penalties. Getting it wrong off-site. So with the backlinks, when we learnt that Google was looking at the backlinks, we created massive websites with link after link after link after link after link, and then we would charge people to, submit their website to these link farms. Google has a big list of these link farms, and if you're associated with them, you'll get a penalty. Private networks, we go, hey, it's really difficult for us to get people to give us a link to your website, so what we'll do is we'll just build our own websites. So we built about 1,800 websites. We had them hosted on 20 servers around Australia. I could push a button and get 20 links to your website instantaneously. After 2012, gone, can't do it anymore. So if you're getting links from websites that share the same hosting environment, Google will say, what are the chances that 20 websites that link to you are all going to be on the same server? That's not how the world works. You've done this to trick me, I'm going to give you a penalty. Anchor text diversity, when I put a link on my website, the piece of text that I click on is called the anchor text. If that anchor text is the same over and over and over, Google's going to assume it was done by a computer and therefore give you a penalty. If you've got lots and lots of links from one website, for instance, like there might be a website with 40,000 pages and they give you a link in the footer, so you now appear on every page, that's bad. Link velocity, if I build 1,000 links for you today and then stop, Google will go, wow, you're popular. It'll stick you up the top of the rankings and you'll go, that was great. And then over a couple of weeks, Google will go, well, hang on, you got 1,000 links last week and then you got none? That's not right. Penalty. Irrelevant sites, porn sites linking to your website. The single biggest issue that we have with customers in relation to being offered SEO services is that the algorithm that Google utilises in Australia is very different to the algorithm that is used overseas. So if the company is an agency in Australia but they're outsourcing the work to India, or if you get offered SEO services from someone in Canada or Vietnam or Indonesia, they may know what they're doing. They may be able to do a great job in their region where building massive amounts of backlinks still works because Google expects that from that region. But if that methodology is applied in Australia, you're going to get a penalty. Australia, New Zealand and the UK have the most prohibitive algorithms in the world. So the single biggest issue if you're choosing an SEO company is to make sure that they understand the region. This is a great email. This came from me. So it was sent to my wife last week. She thought it was hilarious that I now work for Aussie Solutions Proprietary Limited and I use a Gmail account for all of my business communications. Hello, I was doing some research on a client of mine that's in a similar industry. I landed on your website, but it was on page 2 of Google. I'm really impressed with your company. Oh, awesome. I found some really interesting opportunities to increase your online visibility. We're offering a free analysis of your website's current performance and why it's stopping you from getting on page 1. Anyway, I know you receive a ton of these emails, but I've already written up the audit. And I'd like to send it through. Who can I send it to? Give me your email address. And then they've even got an address in Sydney. It looks like I've moved to Sydney as well. So they've grabbed my name off my website so that if you go and put that into Google, you'll see my LinkedIn profile and go, okay, this is legit. Obviously it's not. This is, millions of these go out every day. You've probably seen them. What happens here is you reply back and go, oh, how much does it cost for you to fix or whatever? They will then sell your reply to somebody here and they'll call you and say, hey, we got this email, you're interested in SEO or whatever. So be very careful of those, once again, because they're being generated overseas. And no, he hasn't done a report. So how do you get it right? If your SEO company understands transactional value, this is critical. When you look at a keyword plan and the SEO guy says, hey, let's target the word tyres, there's 50,000 searches per month. Stupid idea. It's a generic term. People not necessarily looking to buy tyres if they put the word tyres into Google. Could be a year 11 student doing a school project, needs a picture of some tyres, whatever. Massively competitive key phrase, you're never going to rank for it and you're not going to make any sales. In the automotive industry, I've got a dirt bike, Yamaha YZ250F. The gear lever, for some reason, is completely different to the two-stroke. So the two-stroke and the four-stroke have different gear levers. So when I want to buy a gear lever, Yamaha 250, 2009 model, gear lever, four-stroke. That is a transactional key phrase. I want to buy a gear lever. So when you're getting advice on what key phrases to target key phrases that represent someone who wants to engage with you commercially. Are they using research type key phrases or are they using phrases that represent someone who's ready to buy? Do they share the burden of the results? SEO takes time, at least 3 to 6 months before you see movement, probably 12 months before you can really evaluate whether it's working for you or not. That means that there are many cowboys in our industry, which is unregulated, who are going to promise you the world, take your money for 6 months until you realise they haven't done any work. You'll cancel, move on, but they've kept your funds. So see if there's a way that they can share the burden by offering you some sort of performance KPIs or guarantees. Local insight, that's the big one. We have relationships with journalists. We know what websites to publish links on that are followed links that add value to your campaign. They may well know what they're doing in America, but if they do that in Australia, it's probably not going to work. Do they have access to local assets? Do they have websites that they can access? Do they know journalists? Do they know how to do press releases in Australia? All right, so that's it. Email address and phone number. I could talk for days about SEO. If you've got an SEO campaign, you're not sure how it's going, feel free to drop me a line. I'm happy to provide you some more specific advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Carl, can you join us up here? Brett, can you join us on the stools, please? We've got just a few minutes. Wow, did that fill your heads? All right, got some questions here. At mine, the way those photographs going up on the screen there. Okay, everybody's taking the shots yeah, okay, got that. 1-300 number. All right, okay, let's go. We've got some questions that have come through here. First question is, Facebook group versus Facebook page. Comment?
Facebook.
Group versus Facebook page.
Okay.
Quick answers, we haven't got much time.
Basically, Facebook page more aligned around your individual business, much more suited to a business. Facebook group is when you're running maybe an event or you're running a community and have a bunch of people wanting to input into that at one point. Stick to pages if you're involved in business.
So if I'm a small business, I'm a repairer, mechanical workshop style repairer, and I've got 2 or 3 guys, I'm doing 15, 20 cars a day, and I want to set up a business Facebook page for 2 reasons. I want to stay in touch with my existing customers with purpose, and I want to get some new ones. What are the key things I need to consider?
Do you have the capability to put content on there regularly? There's no point having a Facebook page if you're not putting content on regularly, so you're trying to post 3 to 4 times a week. You are wanting to make sure the information, in that presentation with the do's and don'ts, making sure your content is good content, and that you are engaging with your customers with the sort of information that you are putting out there.
So would it be okay to have a little video clip, because you talk about videos, a little video clip, goes for 2-3 minutes of customer came in with this the other day, wow, didn't realise that's what happened in their car, but because we know, we fixed it, we did it this way. Just thought you'd want to know. Is that sort of thing we'd put on or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, with regards to Facebook, a lot of people have tried, put a lot of information up there and not seen any return on their investment. There are 2 principal forms of communication with Facebook. The existing customers, like I use a motorbike track out near Bacchus Marsh and they put photos of the conditions. So I know if it's too muddy, I'm not going. That's great. So I can keep in touch with them and I know when the conditions are suitable for my skill level. If they want to attract more people to use that park though, they need content which is shareable. If they're just going to stick photos up there of the track, I'm not going to share that because my grandmother doesn't care about that when she's looking at Facebook. We had a divorce lawyer in last week. He wanted to know about Facebook marketing and I had a hard time keeping a straight face because I'm not going to like your page. I don't want my mother and my auntie and my grandmother on the phone.
That's your business page
within about 5 minutes, yeah. So if you can publish something that's shareable, that will expand your sphere of influence and bring you more customers. Or if you're just using it as a method to keep in touch with your customers, like my motorbike track, if it's too wet, they post on Facebook, we're closed today. They don't use their website, they just use Facebook for that.
So what percentage of product and entertainment should be on a Facebook page mix?
We run 60-40, 60% generic content, 40% what we call branded content. That's information that's about your business. So keep the information light, keep it relevant, but don't do propaganda, don't ram content down your customers' throats. They will reject that. Facebook is a social media. It's how we consume media on a broad range of topics. It's not a website and it's not a direct mail campaign. Remember that. It's really important that you keep the content engaged and not propaganda.
So I set up a Facebook page. It's a business Facebook page. It's my business. I get my people to like it and get involved. And then one of the people that liked it and get involved decides that they're pissed off. So they put a pissed off comment. And everybody gets it. How do I react to that?
Brett might have something on this as well. What you'll find over time, we run a digital marketing company called Rare Spares, have about 75,000 likes. You may know that brand. We've been working with that brand for nearly 6 years now with social media. When we get a negative comment, our community, that is the Facebook people that have engaged with our page, will answer our questions more so than we ever need to do that. So over time, you will build a community. If you're good at what you do and you treat your customers the way that they deserve to be treated, you won't need to say anything. Your advocates will do that for you. If you're starting out and you're starting to get negative comment, take it offline. Get their details, get them and talk about that in a completely personal situation. If you fix that, ask them to repost onto your Facebook page that it's now fixed and they've handled it very well. But get it offline, keep it out of public as quickly as you possibly can. It's changed a lot though. It's matured a lot. You don't get that anymore. Generally, if you've got a negative comment, it's something you should be aware of.
So a mechanical workshop, once again, I'm thinking about doing this sort of thing, and I'm thinking, gee, I don't know. How many of you have got a business Facebook page? Just to show your hands again. Okay, a small number of you. But how do I, therefore there's a number of you, no reasonable number of you. How do I activate it more? How do I get more activated with it? What are some of the thinking processes for me to think on a daily basis, I need to activate it more? What would they be?
Brett, do you want to?
Yeah, coming up with what we call thought leadership. So if there's information you can provide that people are going to want to disseminate. We have a customer who repairs caravans down in Narnawating. He went to the Elmore Field Days recently, did a demonstration with a treadmill, a running machine with a remote control car on top of it, which was running but stationary because the treadmill was going. He had a trailer on the back and he puts a plumb bulb on the axle when he hits the car and it stabilises. I think it's in front of the axle, he hits the car, it's okay. He puts it behind the axle, he hits the car and the thing starts swerving around and banging into the sides. I saw that, my dad needs to see this, bang, share. comment bang. Anybody I know who owns a trailer, I wanted them to see this thing. 48,000 shares in 7 days for a caravan repair guy in Nunawading. So that's thought leadership. He doesn't say anything about how much it costs to repair a caravan, but this video that he published was thought leadership. And that, he's now got a massive audience of people who are aware of his brand.
Just one point, is that remember it takes time. Building anything from scratch takes time. Commit to it. You might not see those results. Brett mentioned you might not see those results straight away, but stay with it. It will work. It will work. If you commit to it, you will get. If you build it, they will come.
What's the difference between Boost and Facebook advertising?
It's the same. A boosted post basically means that you go in and when you become an admin, if your post goes out there and it starts to go well, Facebook will send you a message and say, do you want to boost this? We encourage you to spend some money on Facebook in advertising at some point. Facebook like that, and you'll tend to find that you'll get better results from Facebook if you are investing with them. There's other that you can then advertise as well, but boosting posts is a very, very effective way to get your message out there.
Okay, let's wrap it up with this. The question that I'd be asking if I was in the audience, and I'm probably asking from my business point of view, but I'm talking from a workshop's point of view right now, is, okay, I'm doing something now. I need to lean on somebody. I need to have somebody as my guru, as my mentor, somebody I can run things by to see whether I'm on track. What do you suggest in that respect? Do you guys offer that sort of service? Or, because if I trust my friend, but then it's not my friend, I don't know what they're... What do you think in that sense? Do I need a guru? Do I need a mentor?
To get help from an agency, I think Brett and I would both say it's expensive. And if you're a small business, it can be an expensive way of doing that. My advice is that absolutely talk to people that may be successful. But if you've got someone in your network that is doing a good job of Facebook, talk to them. Ask them out for a coffee, do whatever, but get some information from them on what they're doing. Some peer and colleague training is a very, very good way of doing it. It's actually not that hard. I mentioned for the internet banker, we all were worried about that 15 years ago. It's actually not that hard, but there's some peer help, or you can talk to an agency like us, or there are other people out there as well.
Okay, so to close off, did you get some value from this session? The idea is to say yes loudly. Yeah, okay, good. You got some value. Hopefully you did. My intention was with each of these sessions that I've designed them, put them together, I thought, if I was to put an injection in your arm when you left, what would it have happen to you? I'm hoping that this session has you walk out there saying, I now have a better understanding of websites of Facebook, I now have a better understanding of where it lives in my marketing mix, I have a more confidence about how I might be able to use it productively, and I have some idea of what resources I might need. It means that we have to spend that little bit more time working on the business than in the business. Old story, heard it before many times. But this is not so much a black art, it's an understanding of how much time I need to put into it and actually do it, and slowly it builds. But it's not a quick fix, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Thank you for your questions, thank you for attending, and very great big thanks to Dale and to Brett. Thank you very much.